Hello, everybody. We are doing our recap today, small account challenge. So, today is our second trading day of 2021. And today was actually a pretty tough trading day overall. There really wasn't a whole lot that I would say presented an opportunity today. And most of the day, I felt like I was looking for something to trade rather than something presenting itself to me, which oftentimes can create issues within a trading strategy because you're not allowing or seeing the setups that provide you with the opportunities that you look for. Rather, you're looking for an opportunity to present itself, and you're sometimes looking for confirmation bias in that regard, and you think a setup looks better than what it potentially does. So, in my experience, when there's not much going on, that can be an area where you can get yourself into trouble. So, I would say overall today, for what I was given opportunity wise, I managed my risk pretty well. Um, at one point on the day, I was down about $400. But that was the most that I was down. And, knowing that there wasn't a lot of opportunities today, my objective was, keeping my risk tight, making sure that my management of that part of my strategy was on point. And, if I finished with, I obviously didn't want to, but if I did finish with a red day, I wanted it to be, $400 or $500 and not give back all the profit that I earned yesterday. So I'm thinking tomorrow it'll be a little bit above 600 after commissions and fees are taken out. So um, that's putting us now. We're close to where we were before the catastrophe happened. Um, that was, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago. So this is what I talked about, right? In that it was going to take time. The frustrating part is knowing that it's going to take time to recover and recoup the loss that you had. And now that I'm, pretty much back at this point, if I manage to have a green day similarly to other green days that I've had tomorrow, then I should be in a position where I'm now creating more profits again. So like at the end of the day, I took a trade here, so we can see this is QS. Um, I had it's funny. I said this early in the day at about 2 o'clock, I guess, 1:30. I had said that I think if this starts to push higher and get some momentum. Actually, I said it. Sorry, I said it earlier today. So I said it around lunchtime. We were basing out sideways here. So you see this. We pull this out, right? It's had a pretty sharp pullback on the daily, and there's this big gap here, right, where there was no news, but it gapped down quite a lot. And anyway, so after that gap down, it pulled back a little bit more, but then based sideways and started to push back up again. And so knowing that we're kind of basing and pushing around lunchtime today, here we are with the high day, and it pulls back, bounces off the VWAP, pulls sideways, holds the 9 EMA, and starts to push up again. As I see it starting to push up again and break out over this level here around 55, I'm saying, okay, if this breaks out, pushes higher, and then breaks through the high day, I would not be surprised to see this retest what we call the gap entry. So I'll highlight this so you can see. So this green line here, is what we call the entry to the window. So this is the window. So we see up here to 84.26 all the way down to 61. The reason why it's 61 is because the high of this opening candle, this is yesterday's opening candle, the high is 61. So for me, when I look at technical analysis, I'm looking for these windows that dictate where algorithms are going to start to move the price and where they're going to move the price to. And so at 12 o'clock this afternoon, I had noticed this window and noticed it pushing up. And I'm saying, okay, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this hits 61 today. And so I typed that out in our chat room, and so that was at about 12 o'clock. And then it started to push up, and it broke through the high day, but it only ended up going to 60 up here. And then it hit 60, but then it just based sideways. It didn't really break down at all. We see that it held 57.50. And ironically, after hours, it's holding 57.50 as well. But then we see after it based sideways from 130 to 345, all of a sudden it started to explode with volume. And look where the high day finished at 61.23. And I said 61 at 12 o'clock, where I thought it was going to be going to. And so it went to that window, right? And then now what we're going to be watching for is it to push into this window. So as soon as it gets above 61 and holds 61, now it's got all this room up to $84. So I want to be looking at swinging this from 61 to 84 because that's our window of our price range. Now it's not going to get there all in one shot, right? It's going to have its, peaks and valleys on the way, but that's where the price is going to be driven by algorithms potentially towards that window. And we can also see that the 20 EMA right here is up near 76 as well. And usually you're going to see a retest of the EMAs in some capacity, but this one didn't even get the opportunity to because of the gap down. Anyways, so I ended up taking this trade because I was watching it for a break over $60, and I thought it was going to go to 61. I didn't hold it all the way to 61 because it's the end of the day and there's more volatility and didn't want to give up my profits. But anyways, it ended up being a $100 trade at the end of the day that I took. But that's how, if I'm, and one of the things I'm trying to work on a little bit more is, respecting the trend. I'm definitely a breakout trader, but I have been, more often than not seeing these longer term trades and trends that, if I had just got in at $56 here or whatever, and just held it all day, with 400 shares and let it go to 61 where I said it was going to go, I'm looking at $1,500 to $2,000 in the day just from, saying, okay, here's the price target and letting it go. Unfortunately, you don't take your profits at that point and, you can lose out. And that's what I don't like to see. But it is something that down the road, I may try to instigate a little more of in terms of just buying and holding. And, that's what I try to do with swing trading as well. Another name that I was looking at was BTBT. This one has been a big mover. It's moving off of Bitcoin related price movements. Bitcoin's been very strong and has led it to a little more strength in this. There was another catalyst on this. I can't remember specifically what it was as well. Anyways, so we see the low here of 24 and the high of 31. So it's quite a bit of range. I like stocks with range because it gives me opportunity. So I took a couple of trades on this. I initially was in here for the breakout over the VWAP because we can see as it broke this flag, and so you see the triangle here, right? From here. So as it broke out of this triangle, all of a sudden the trend changes, it pushes up higher. I tried to get in. I was watching it initially for the break, but I didn't have a lot of confidence. The volume was still light. Started to push up, got a little volume into it. Then we had this false break here. So I actually got long for the false break. It ended up being a break-even trade. The thing that's frustrating is it pulled back, retested the VWAP in this speed line, and then pushed higher, and all the volume came in, and it made a move from 26 up to $30 there. So that was something I was watching. I didn't capitalize on the whole thing. I got some fills on it on the way up. but I don't like to get caught chasing a price movement, because too often you'll get, it starts to move and then you buy in and you're bought in at the top and you're you're holding a poor average on your position. So if I'm going to trade something that's already broken out past my entry point, it's only going to be, scalping, buying and selling pretty quickly to get some profit on the way up, rather than taking a huge full position and it being a poor entry. So anyway, so I did catch that on the way up a bit, and then I saw this volume top forming on. So we see the high day volume here, 1.1 million. High day volume here, 1.1 million, and it's on a parabolic move up, and it is away from the VWAP. So this is a nice volume top that I saw forming after a parabolic move. I called it out in our chat room. A couple other people took this trade with me after I had mentioned it, and so you see, I also saw this topping out at 30, right? $29.99, $30 for me. That's like, okay, I'm gonna take my entry. I didn't get the best fill possible, because I just hit a limit order with a very low need for a specific price, and got in essentially as fast as I could, because I'm looking at this and I'm saying whatever I get filled at, my stop is going to be $30. If it breaks above 30, that's my stop. That's the high. That's the top. Anything else below, we've got more room to the downside now. So anyways, I took the short there. I believe it got filled at 29.65, and then it pulled back. My target was the 9 EMA, this purple moving average here. And my last exit was actually 27.95, which is the low of this candle. It dropped down to 27.80. So I got a nice entry, good exit, and that was one of my better trades of the day. Didn't end up going to the VWAP, which is normally what a volume top will do. However, it did end up hitting the VWAP later. But I took another short on this here, right on this big candle. So I saw that the momentum and the volume was drying up a bit on this. We see that the red volume candles are starting to creep up a little bit more than the green candles. And that's alluding to more sellers coming in, or more people shorting up here. And it's also at a price point where we're getting to more resistance through this double top up here. So it had made that big move, and it was kind of just grinding higher at this point without a lot of momentum. And my indicators were also telling me, so we can see the MACD here starting to cross over, and CMF with distribution accumulation. So it's making lower highs here, right? It popped up there and then continued to make lower. So that's all those things are telling me that this is potentially a good short opportunity. And then so I got short at 29.90 was my trigger, and I got filled at 29.82, and then this went to 28.50, and I got it at 28.60, I believe. And I thought this was going to go lower, and I actually took another short as it broke 28.50, but it popped back up again. I didn't want to give back my profit, so I got out for a smaller loss. But then my theory was that this was going to head to the VWAP at the close, and that's sure enough what it did, 27.50. So could have made a little more there, but again, I wanted to protect my profits. But really good analysis on that on the way up, and then on the way down. This is one of the few stocks that had momentum, and that's why I was trading it. So overall, like I said, it was a good day. You got to get back to it tomorrow. Keep it consistent, keep it green, day to day, week to week, month to month, like we talked about. So I'm not going to put pressure on myself that I need to get a green day tomorrow and try to get back above the level that I was at and whatever. That's going to come. just, again, waiting to see what setups present themselves tomorrow. If it's a great looking day and the opportunities are there, then we roll with it. If not, got to keep the risk management tight and make sure that I want to avoid any of those circumstances that has made it a prolonged effort to keep those profits coming.